If there was anything at all to be said about the dark side, and Star Wars in general, is that some of the most formidable fictional characters and entities and a myriad of formidable beings have emerged from this historic series. Beings such as Darth Sidious, Grandmaster Luke Skywalker, Darth Nihilus, and Emperor Valkorion were all capable of exerting their will in the Force over various beings, utilizing the full force of their ability and attunement to the Force. However, there was one long-lived Force-sensitive human male, known to some as Darth Krayt, Asherad Het, the Dragon of the Sith, and known to most members of the Skywalker family as the Dark Man. A legendary Dark Lord of the Sith, he was the last great Sith Lord of the Legends timeline, born over 40 years before the Battle of Yavin, and died over 130 years after it. Yes, my friends, I am speaking about Darth Krayt. Darth Krayt was a being who had been through death and conquered it. He had returned from death with his power multiplied. He even claimed that the dark side of the Force lived and manifested itself through him. He even sent ripples through the Force to all who serve it, that as a siren, to know that he had returned after he was murdered and betrayed by Darth Warlock. So join us, grab a snack, as we venture to the desert world of Tatooine, and find out the origins of the last great Sith Lord in all of Star Wars lore, and why he may be one of the only Sith to rival the power of both Vitiate, Palpatine, and Nihilus. Darth Krayt, born as Asherad Het, revered as the Dragon of the Sith, and known to some members of the Skywalker lineage as the Dark Man, was an exceptionally long-lived Force-sensitive human male who served as both a Jedi Master in the waning days of the Galactic Republic, as well as a Jedi General in the Clone Wars, and a Dark Lord of the Sith following the fall of Darth Sidious at the Battle of Endor. The son of legendary and famed Jedi Knight Sharad Het and his wife Kashyyyk, both of whom lived along the Tusken Raiders of Tatooine and adopted into the practices. He eventually became the Padawan of Jedi Masters Ki-Adi-Mundi, and later Anya Kuro, a being who took on rather problematic and unique Padawans. When he was only a teenager, Het's father was murdered by the ex-Jedi assassin known as Aurra Sing, one of the most famed and revered bounty hunters to have ever terrorized the galaxy, who was later defeated and bested in a duel by a young Asherad Het during the Clone Wars. He served the Republic as a general and established himself as a charismatic and bold leader, who often led his troops from the front lines. He eventually became friends and comrades with the young Anakin Skywalker, the prophesied chosen one, and helped Anakin come to terms with the destruction which had been wrought by the galaxy-wide war. Asherad took part in key conflicts during the war, such as the Battle of Boz Piti and the Siege of Salkumaimi. He managed to survive the Clone Wars, and was one of roughly only 20 Jedi to have escaped the Great Jedi Purge in 19 BBY, after Palpatine, the being who would one day outlive, and instigated Order 66 in 19 BBY. Asherad had eventually made his way back to his homeworld of Tatooine, where he vowed to wage a private and secretive war against a new galactic empire, having found out that it was under the domination of the Sith Order. However, after a confrontation with the exiled Jedi Master Obi-Wan Kenobi, he was cast out and exiled from Tatooine, and later it was discovered that it was Anakin Skywalker who had become the Sith Lord Darth Vader, who he had aided in the annihilation of the Jedi Order. Asherad blamed himself for the destruction as a Jedi, as he was one of the only beings in the entire galaxy besides possibly Padme and R2-D2, who had known about Anakin murdering a village of Tusken Raiders during the events of the Attack of the Clones, and could have reported the young Jedi, thus getting him expelled for exploiting with dark side tendencies, but did not, considering it Anakin's personal responsibility to deal with his own dark deeds and inner workings, and became a bounty hunter. During one of his missions, he found himself in the ancient Sith homeworld of Korriban, where he trained as a Sith under the tutelage of the holocron of the Dark Lord Zozan, one of the founding Sith Lords from almost 7 millennia prior. Had eventually succumbed to the dark side after capture and torture by the Yuzong Vong, and was tortured in the embrace of pain by the fallen Jedi Master and former acolyte of Darth Sidious, Vergir, and soon proclaimed himself the Dread Lord and Dark Lord of the Sith, taking the moniker of Darth Krayt. As Krayt, he became the founder and ruler of the One Sith ideology during the period of the Vong invasion, kept the existence of his rebuilt Sith Order hidden from the Jedi for a century by cloaking their presence on Korriban, concealing them from the Jedi's new view. At one point in 44 ABY, he emerged to fight alongside Luke Skywalker against the ancient corrupted force Celestial Abeloth, to survive. The Dark Lord spent many years in a stasis pod before re-emerging to form an alliance with Moff Ninja Calixte to spark the Sith Imperial War that led to the destruction of the Galactic Federation Free Alliances at the climax of the war. He disposed Emperor Roan fell and brought about the destruction of the new Jedi Order, instating the rule of the Sith in the darkest period the galaxy would ever see. Darth Krayt ruled the galaxy with an iron fist for 7 years, before the alliance between the rightful Emperor Roan fell and the Galactic Alliance Admiral Gar Satsy threatened and usurped his rule. Furthermore, Krayt discovered the existence and survival of one single Skywalker, Cade Skywalker. Krayt feared that with these deteriorating conditions and his bad health due to the Yuzong Vong parasites would lead to a demise before his dream was concluded, and has set about the hunt for Cade Skywalker, determined to murder the young prodigy whatever it took. However, during a skirmish on Had Abaddon, Krayt was stabbed, electrocuted, and sent hurtling off a cliff. The Sith Lord's powers and prowess in the Force drew strong though, however when they saved his life. Darth Krayt was approached by Darth Wylock, his most trusted advisor, who then murdered Krayt, believing the Dreadlord would lead to the Sith Order's destruction, due to the one Sith relying so heavily on Krayt, and if he was to die, the entire Sith Order would crumble before his eyes. But, even as he was inactive, Krayt's ideals were being carried off by Rylock in his place. Krayt later healed his body from death experience, overcoming the taint of his Yuzong Vong implants and armor that had plagued him for many years. He called out to all those across the galaxy who would touch the dark side, signaling his return. With the aid of loyal Sith and a new breed of Sith troopers, Krayt retook and assaulted Coruscant, slaying Darth Wylock in the climactic process, and began making preparations to rebirth the galaxy through war, and cement his rule as the one true Emperor to live eternally. However, in a final confrontation, he once again attempted to coax Cade Skywalker to the dark side and become his apprentice. He failed to do so, and while distracted in the attempt, was slain by Cade, who incinerated his corpse to prevent the phantom and ghost of Krayt from simply resurrecting his dead body. Even after his physical death, Krayt's ideals were being carried out by his loyal followers, the One Sith, as the Sith went into hiding and ultimately resulted in their extinction. Well, my friends, what did you think of this video? Darth Krayt is one of my favourite characters in all of the lore, and is truly an intriguing and all-powerful Sith Lord, rivaling that of Palpatine and Nihilus. He became so powerful he could wrench down various rocks with the Force, and even was alongside Luke Skywalker, one of the only beings alongside Luke and Darish Vol, to fight Abeloth and live to tell the tale. Farewell, my acolytes. I'll see you in a galaxy far, far away. Staunchly follow the One Sith philosophy, and remember, kneel before the Dark Man.